Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Teacher Abdrazak. Once again, I welcome you to my channel. Today, I'll be taking you through the ecosystems of the world. But basically, I'll be defining the term ecosystem. I'll be elaborating the types of ecosystems, the inputs and outputs, plus the processes that aid the ecosystems of the world. So get your book, get a pen, and sit in class. Start with definitions. We have two definitions. Number one, an ecosystem is a geographic area where plants, animals, and other organisms, as well as the physical environment, work together to form a bubble of life. The other definition is a community or a group of living and non-living organisms that live in and interact with each other in a specific environment. Now, before we go deeper into the definitions, let's first look at the term ecosystem. The word eco refers to a part of the world, and the word system refers to the coordinating units within that part of the world. That's where the word ecosystem is coming from. So when we go back to the definitions, basically the ecosystem uh, is made up of two parts. That is the living part of the ecosystem and the non-living part of the ecosystem. And geographically, the non-living are referred to as abiotic factors, and then the living part is referred to as biotic. So the abiotic factors or the non-living part of the ecosystem can consist of the soil, water, air, climate, among others. Then the living part of the ecosystem consists of flora and fauna, or plants and animals. So when you look at the definitions here we have for ecosystem, it indicates that in an ecosystem, living organisms and physical environment are linked together, which means they are reliant to each other for survival. So that means if you disturb one part of the ecosystem, can also have an impact on the other part of the ecosystem. When we look at the types of ecosystems, basically we have two major types of ecosystems. That is to say, number one, terrestrial ecosystems, and number two, aquatic ecosystems. Now let's see what terrestrial ecosystems are and what aquatic ecosystems are in details. So now type number one in details, terrestrial ecosystem. This means those ecosystems that exist on land. That is to say, forests, grasslands, deserts, among others. Now, when you look at the definition of terrestrial ecosystems and then you analyze the animations I used in the video, it indicates that a terrestrial ecosystem is a land-based community of organisms and the interactions of biotic and abiotic components in a given area. So when you look at the animations within the video here, you can see that we have the giraffe, we have a monkey, you can see we have a gorilla. So this is going to create a complex relationship between the living and the non-living parts or components within a given community. So in simple terms, a terrestrial ecosystem can be also, in other words, known as land ecosystems. Type number two is aquatic ecosystems, and this means those that occur in water, for example, oceans, lakes, rivers, streams, estuaries, and wetlands. But generally, uh, an aquatic ecosystem is one found in and around water bodies. So, any interactions between biotic and abiotic components of an ecosystem that occur in water or around water bodies are the ones we refer to as aquatic ecosystem. So the word aquatic means water. So, however, uh, aquatic ecosystems can be furthermore divided into two. We can have marine ecosystems and then we can have freshwater ecosystems. Marine ecosystems does those that occur in big oceans and seas or that occur in salt waters. Then freshwater ecosystems, those that occur in rivers and lakes. So to continue, ecosystems involves inputs and outputs because ecosystems are open systems. It means something can be taken in and something can be taken out of the ecosystems. So let's see and analyze what can be taken in the ecosystem and what can be taken out of the ecosystems. Let's start with the inputs. So in simple terms, uh, the word inputs here, it means anything that can be taken in the ecosystem or anything that the ecosystem can take in. So we have examples here of the inputs of the ecosystems. Number one, gases. When we talk about gases, for example, carbon dioxide and oxygen. So when we go back to the definitions, we said that ecosystem consists of biotic, living, and abiotic, non-living. Let's take an example. The biotic part of ecosystem we said consists of plants and animals. So plants need carbon dioxide for survival. Then animals need oxygen for survival. That means that ecosystems should take in the gases, for example, carbon dioxide and oxygen for the interaction to take place. Number two, we have minerals. So these minerals can be minerals from weathered rocks. Now these minerals can add fertility on the soil and can aid the formation of the soils within the ecosystem. Then number two, rainfall. Since we had the plants in non-ecosystems, we have animals in ecosystems, we have the living organisms in the ecosystems. It means these plants and animals need rainfall for their growth and also and other processes to take place within the ecosystem. Then number four, we have gravity as input. So this one aids movement of organisms within the ecosystem. Then number five, soil nutrients. Soil nutrients can also add the fertility of the soil and also help the plants to grow uh, properly in the ecosystem. And lastly, we have solar radiations. This is the solar energy or the sun. So ecosystems need sun, more especially people need sun, animals need sun, and majorly plants need sun for photosynthesis to take place. So these are some of the inputs. When we look at the outputs, now the word output means anything that can be taken out of the ecosystem. So we have examples here of outputs, for example, eroded soil. So soils can be eroded from one ecosystem to another ecosystem. Take an example. When we receive rain, rain can erode soil from terrestrial ecosystems to aquatic ecosystems. Number two, water can be taken out of the ecosystems. For example, people or humans can take water from the oceans, lakes, and rivers. Then the other output is terrestrial heat, or can be called long wave heat or radiation. This means when the earth receives sun, the sun absorbs the heat that is enough for it, and then it emits back the excessive heat. That's what we call terrestrial heat. So that heat can be also emitted from ecosystems. And lastly, gases. Gases can also be taken from um, ecosystems. Gases, for example, carbon dioxide and also oxygen. So, uh, oxygen can be taken from ecosystems. For example, the trees give us oxygen and then we give them carbon dioxide. And now, lastly, let's look at the processes in the ecosystems. So, basically, these are the processes that operate in between the inputs and the outputs within the ecosystem. Number one, we have transpiration. Transpiration is the process through which uh, plants lose water into the atmosphere in the form of water vapor. So you can see that there is losing or giving out of water. So we said ecosystems consist of plants. So these plants, they lose water into the atmosphere. It means water is being taken out from the ecosystem. Process number two, growing. Everyone know growing. You people grow, even me I grow. So in the process of growing, I need um, oxygen. It was an input in the ecosystem. Even animals need oxygen to grow. However, on the other hand, uh, plants need carbon dioxide to grow. So you can see that carbon dioxide and oxygen are necessary to be inputs in the ecosystem. Then the other process is eating. Everyone know eating. So in the process of eating, we will need the uh, soil nutrients, to make the soil fertile such that people can cultivate and then they get food. We need rainfall. We need water to the process of eating. Then process number four is respiration. Respiration is the act of breathing in and out, in and out. So this one we need oxygen and also carbon dioxide. So oxygen is going to be taken in by animals, and then carbon dioxide will be taken in uh, by plants. And lastly is photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is the process through which plants make their own food. So in the process of photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is needed and then solar radiations are needed within the ecosystem. So that's all about the introductory part of ecosystems. So please leave a comment, like, and subscribe to this page such that you receive the notifications whenever I post a new lesson. So I'm going to leave a box on this video. You are going to tap in that box and you're going to watch a live video of ecosystems of the world.